I love it. Great to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. So I always begin with this question because it was such a
Yeah.
pivotal point for all of us.
Mhm.
Living through the pandemic approximately 6 years ago,
Mhm.
there were so many things that changed. How
Yeah,
did you get through that COVID era, and how has it influenced the way that you work and live today?
that's such a great question. As tough that was a really tough period, right, for all of us in the world. As for me, it just really it brought me to the space where I've always wanted to be, is a space of stillness and really getting in and getting to know myself. I always say the thing I loved the most about COVID, because of the work that I do, being a life and a spiritual coach, and then also to executive coaching for leadership, is I always encourage people to find space to really be with themselves, because I believe leadership starts within. So for me, what COVID did, I say that it gave me the view of the world where I say, whether you leaving for work and you had a BMW, or you're an executive, we were all the same. What COVID did for me was give me the realization that anything outside of us, we don't have the power. So we have to start really digging deep down inside and finding ourselves. There are people who during that period found themselves lost, and some of us found ourselves because we were forced to sit with ourselves and deal with ourselves, and not just continue moving, checking boxes, and living that perpetual life. So for me, it actually got me closer to myself, and it made me really start on the journey. I was already on the journey, but it took me on a deeper journey of discovering, who am I? What is my purpose? What am I here for? And these are questions that most of us don't ask ourselves, because we're busy out here checking boxes and calling ourselves trying to create this successful life. Yeah.
So let's get into the work, the great work that you're doing. I'm going to
Yes.
put you in front of 12-year-olds at career day, and one of the kids wants to know what you do for a living. How do you synthesize that day job to make sense to their brains?
Oh, I love that. If I had to speak to a 12-year-old, what I do is that every human being has the power within. What I do is help them ignite that power and discover who they are. Who they are, why are you here? What is your purpose on earth, right? What is your vision? So that is my goal. If I was talking to a 12-year-old right now, I would tell them, you were born with the power within you already. My job is to ignite that power in you so you can really discover who you are and what is your purpose on this earth.
When you were that age at career day, what was your dream job? What did you want to be when you were growing up?
It is so interesting. I had several things. I wanted to be a backup dancer because I love to dance. At that age, yeah.
Yeah.
I love to dance. I always used to say, I just want to be a backup dancer. But I always had this vision, which now that you're asking me this question, it comes full circle, to be in a space where I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know that then it was called leadership, but I always had this thing within me, always wanting to help people, see people do good. And my vision was me being in like a high rise, and then I have windows all over my office. And now that I look at it, never thought about it. I'm not in a high rise, but I have windows all over all over my office. That's who I wanted to be then.
So you've moved around a lot. You've been on quite a journey. Take me back to your beginnings. What were the seeds that were planted that made you be optimistic, have this energy, have this level of giving this to others now? How did you evolve to this place as a professional and as a person?
I always have to say that on that part as giving to people and being this person, I've always been this person. I just never knew it, right? So the difference between then and now is that then I would utilize it to get validation. I was a people pleaser. But even through that process, I always wanted to see people do well and do good. So it has just it's my being, and I have to say, it sounds crazy. That's one thing I know for sure about me. It's my being. This is what I love to do. So even now with my leadership, I'm a firm believer that you can't lead anybody unless you're a leader in your own life. So I've always been on that journey of self-leadership, trying to discover who I am, what is my why, what are my values, what am I convicted about, what are my beliefs. So it has been a journey for a long time. Now, the past 10 years, I have to say, when I started doing this work, it's been more than 10 years. Everybody used to say, you and your woo-woo stuff. Because I used to talk about consciousness. I used to talk about healing. I used to be like, you gotta know who you are. You need to really get in touch with yourself. And everybody around me be like, nobody's going to listen to that. You and your woo-woo stuff. Lord behold, that's all the world is talking about
Uh-huh.
today.
Yeah, it is. And
You know, and
yeah,
people are starting to understand that our power is within, it's not outside of ourselves. And I've been preaching this for years. And now the world is awakening to understanding that as human beings, our power is within us. Yeah.
it's interesting you say that because it's true, and I think this spotlight on mental health that we got after COVID has helped quite a bit. I think it's opened up the doors for these types of terms and languages to not be a weird thing. It's just
Yeah.
really a part. I mean, we all had to get to that spiritual, emotional crossroads in our lives. What are we going
Yeah.
to do? We're not here forever. We got to decide what we're going to do from here,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah.
Um, so let me ask you this. Who has been that inspirational force, that hero in your life that's allowed you to evolve and to become who you are today?
Whew, oh gosh, it's a lot. It's a lot. First, I'll start in my personally, right? I always say that what I do. So primarily when I first started my business, Loud Whisper, the whole goal of Loud Whisper was for me, as I mentioned earlier, to help women ignite that power with them, to help them use their voice. Because I feel like women are always screaming for help on the inside, but nobody hears them because it comes out as a whisper, and that's where a loud whisper came from. The person that I am today, I always say, came from where I grew up, my African culture. I grew up amongst very courageous, resilient, powerful women. These women did whatever it took to take care of the families, and it was women from all walks of life, right? So you have the stay-at-home moms, you have the professional moms. And I always say, as a little girl, I used to watch the women with the tomatoes on their head walking to the market. I didn't even realize what it was. In my eyes, they were entrepreneurs. I always say they just never owned a Rockefeller building, you know? So we become a product of our environment, right? So as life went on, that was my source of who I became. But as I was moving through life, there's certain things about that culture that I had to let go of, which was suppression. Suppression of self, suppression of who I am. And as I started moving through life, I started getting, you attract who you are, because I was so hungry for spiritual awakening because of my own past, because of my own trauma, my own abuse and sense of not belonging. I started seeking like teachers. So I listened to like Eckhart Tolle, Michael Singer, A New Earth. I have to say that book is what really opened me up to understanding that in order for me to live a fulfilled life, I have to understand who I am. So people like Michael Singer, you find like Eckhart Tolle. So then I started gravitating Tony Robbins. I used to watch Robbins, and I say that I am going to become the female Tony Robbins. So just being able to listen to all those people has helped me get to this space of where I am, and just my own experiences, right? The growing, the coming back, and just life in general.
So, if you could get one dream guest on your podcast,
Mm,
anybody alive on the planet right now to
mm,
talk to pick their
mm,
brain, who would
mm.
that guest be?
Oh my goodness, that's such a hard question because I have so many, Joe.
It can be a list.
Okay, I'll give you a list. The number one person, unfortunately, is not here with us today, who is Maya Angelou. I call her my Shiro. I would have loved to have a conversation with her and to just understand her as a human being, to learn more about her. And then you have, the Yana Vazan, and then you have the Tony Robbins, and then you have, as I mentioned, the Eckhart Tolle, and all these spiritual teachers that are out there. Those are the people that I like to really have on my podcast and have a deep conversation. I always say an authentic conversation as to what life is about and how us humans can experience life on this earth.
It's one thing when you see Maya on TV, you feel the power of what she was. But I would imagine being around figures like her, there's certain
Yeah.
people, if you actually got in the room and felt that. I saw a viral clip last night. She was on Oprah talking about how God loves her, and she kept saying it over and over.
She did.
And it was like she was like, I've always remembered that. And when you tap into that thought, it's so true. Like, of
Yeah.
all of the things that are flawed of humans, she always kept that perspective at the end of the day. No matter what
Yeah.
happens, there's
Yeah.
love out there, and I'm loved
Yeah.
by something.
There's love out there. And because we are love, right? But
Yeah,
society has taught us different. We
yeah,
are all love. Love is within us. Whoever I say, it doesn't matter who you subscribe to. God is in all of us. This is who we are. It's just that from the time we were born, whether you're a little girl or a little boy, from the time you got on this earth, unfortunately, the world started making us carry on different layers of identity that had nothing to do with who we are. I just got done doing a series that I called Inherited Identity. And I say a lot of us still live an inherited identity because we don't understand the God in us. And I'm not saying the identity that you got from where you came from was bad, but sometimes we have to take a couple steps back. For me, I had to and say, look, the best part of who I am is my African culture. It is the best as an individual, as a woman, as a human being in general. But you know what, Joe? There's some aspects, there's some habits, there's some patterns of my culture that I needed to let go of in order for me to continue on the path that God needs me to be. You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. What is the energy for you every day to change lives, to take care of your own soul, to do all of this at a high level? When that alarm clock goes off or doesn't, what gets you going every day to do this at a high level?
Oh my goodness. First of all, my number one purpose, of course, is my children, right? As everybody would say, you get up. But what I love about what I do, and I came to the realization, I'm 50, I turned 50 last year, and I came to the realization 49 years when I turned 49 that we all have a gift. Every human being has a gift within us. And I've come to the realization that my core genius and the gift that God has given me is to create safe spaces for people to heal. And so when I get up in the morning, my first thing is, God, help me become that of what I teach, right? Because every day I'm teaching people to discover themselves. Every day I'm teaching people to heal from their trauma. Every day I'm teaching people to keep digging deeper and deeper and deeper and excavating and finding themselves within and get into that self leadership. So I get excited about that. I get excited about showing people that there's more to you than what meets the eye or who society said quote unquote you should be. You can have all the degrees in the world. You can make all the money in the world. You know, Tony Robbins always talks about what's his name? The guy that died. Oh my God, I just lost my train of thought. Robbins, the guy that he used to make us laugh all the time. I can't remember his name.
Oh,
But
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams, thank you
Yes.
for that. Oh my God, I just lost my train of thought. His job was to make us laugh,
Yeah,
but he committed suicide. Right? So these things, it's about really discovering and understanding yourself. Because we live in a world, I always say, for many years, I felt like an actor in my own life, as though someone just gave me a script and I was just living it out. And the worst thing, I wasn't even the main actor. I was the supporting actress. And the reason why is because we live in a society that who you are to your core is not enough. It's what you do that you're validated by. So my job is to stand on the mountaintop and make people understand you can get all the education that you want in your world. Your gift, your God-given gift will take you places that no education will ever do.
absolutely. So let me ask you this. If you had a dream tonight, ran into the 18-year-old version of you, you walked
Yeah.
into the room and you click play on a film projector and your life, a 60-second highlight reel of the life you've lived came up. Would that young version of you believe your life turned out this way?
No, no.
Would you have any advice?
Yeah. First thing I'll tell her, you're enough. And the second thing I'll tell her, you don't have to sacrifice yourself to be seen, loved, or validated. Who you were born on this earth, and all my life experiences, all my trauma, all the abuse and whatever, the not feeling belonging that I experienced, It was not, I'll tell her, that was not in vain, baby girl. That was not in vain.
Yeah.
Your journey had a purpose. So before, I used to identify with my pain, right? So I couldn't do much for people. But then now my pain is my superpower. I always tell people, I say, use your pain to make the world a better place. So I'd let her know all those times when you felt you were not enough, all those times when you sacrificed yourself, all those some days when you thought tomorrow was not going to come. You're here today.
Yeah.
All your trials, your tribulations, your joy, your happiness, your up, your down, your sideways, it was not in vain. It was for you to help other people move through life. It was for you to help other people that look at me. I am not the woman that I was 5 years ago. Hell, I'm not the woman I was, let alone 6 months ago.
Yeah.
No, life
Yeah.
is about evolving. It's about evolution. My saying is that there's nothing that God created that does not evolve.
Yeah. For sure. So let me ask you this: in that highlight reel, what are you the proudest of? What is it? What are the highlights of that film
Of
of
the
your life?
real,
Yeah.
girl, you are a survivor and you do it well. And you do it well. And what? You get to stand on stage and tell people about the very things that you were ashamed of? Now you own it? Oh, you are the it girl. What? You've ran the Chicago Marathon more than 2 times? You are a yoga instructor now? You're helping people heal? The very thing that you are ashamed of now is your superpower?
Yeah.
Come on now. Look
Yeah.
at you.
Yeah. What does the word retirement mean? When you see the big word retirement in front of you, what does that mean to you?
Ooh. I hope to never retire from the work that I love to do.
Yeah.
I hope till the day I take my last breath, I can share, I can share with someone or I can teach someone that they're more than what they may have told to be, that there's more within them. If that's the last thing I do when I take my last breath, because it feeds me. I understand to my core my purpose, and that is my purpose.
So I got to know on all of these travels that you've been through geographically and even more than that, what has been one of the most magical, unexpectedly magical places that you've been to that you just absolutely loved?
You know, people ask me that a lot, and it sounds like a cliche because I never grew up in my home country. I never did because my dad traveled so much. So up to now, I like going back home because it's the most magical place for me. I wish I had, as crazy as it sounds, yes, I was privileged. I was a diplomat's daughter. I did all that. I lived that life. I speak the 7 languages and all that kind of stuff. But people don't understand too the disconnect that it brings in a human being when you don't live at home.
Yeah,
So all my life has been based culturally, yeah, with my African culture, but it has been based on different cultures. It has been based on seeing different people. So I know there are a lot of magical places out there, but there's nothing that makes me feel more alive than when I step foot in my country.
I love it. So let me
Yeah.
ask you this. Everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, clients, everyone that listens to your podcast, there's all these bubbles of persona, but you run the ultimate show. What's your
Mhm.
perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Mm, who do I think I am? I'm the daughter of the Most High.
Yeah,
I'm protected, I'm covered, I'm powerful within. Something I had to discover and something I'm still discovering. There's more to me than there's more to me that's coming out. There's more to me that's evolving. But when I look at myself and just the perception of myself is I'm a heart-centered person.
yeah.
Everything comes from the heart to a fault at times, a lot of times, especially in the world that we live in. That's how I can define myself. I'm a really heart-centered person. Yeah.
So let's say you get into a time machine and you can go back in the history of humanity and see one event happen before your very eyes. You get to see it and you can come back. What event in human history would you love to have seen with your own eyes?
Oh, that's a good one. For every little girl, use your voice. Your voice matters. Your life, you were not brought to this earth to be somebody's wife. Because that's how some of us were conditioned, right? Growing up, shut up, keep quiet, don't speak too much because you speak too much. Nobody's going to want you. No man wants whatever. And I would honestly tell that to every little girl. If I could change how women view themselves and remove that mask that the world plants on young girls when they were born, that's the number one thing that I could do. Because if most of the young girls and women could see the power that they have within them, the fact that we bring life into this world, whether you have children or not, oh my goodness, I would reverse that so every girl can understand the value of their humanity on this earth instead of the other way.
Yeah,
The world is like you're here to serve, care about everybody else. You don't matter. Be quiet. Do this, do that. All these rules that were given. And that's why you find like a lot of women, they don't know who they are.
yeah.
That's exactly what I would do.
So if anyone out there wants to reach out, they want to hire you, your podcast, catch you on stage, any of the good business, where do they
Yeah.
go?
You can go to all my platforms. I'm on LinkedIn, Isabel Draughton, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, my website, which is really easy. My first and last name, isabeldrawn.com. So send me a message. You can DM me. I always say that I'm an open book and I love to meet people. So if you're listening to this podcast and you'd like to know more about me and what I do, or if you're looking for somebody to help you through your journey of igniting that power within you, I'm here.
I love it. Isabel, what a wonderful story, wonderful energy. Thank you so much for taking a minute.
Thank
I've
you
got to put
so
on.
much, Joe. I really appreciate it.
Been